What's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to SMITE Meta Casual News. In today's episode, it's all about Knox, baby. Alright, that's enough of that. We also have a little small spoil for tier, all that and a little bit more. Once again, my name is FG3000, you're you, and here comes the news. First up, High Risk Chris gives us a small spoil for tier, an upcoming Odyssey skin. He looks super excited, talking about it's the best skin ever developed. Oh, that's risky, High Risk Chris. We're gonna hold you to it. Other than that, we have absolutely no context, nothing else. This is all we have, so we gotta take High Risk Chris at his word. That's it. Let's talk about Knox. Alright, so let's dive right into this. So the brand new goddess coming to Smite is Knox, the goddess of the night. Let's talk about her model first, and then we will deep dive into her passive, her abilities, and how I think she's going to fare in Conquest as far as the meta is concerned. So first things first, her model. Pretty good. I really don't have any complaints about it. It's actually pretty unique. A lot of people have been clamoring for female gods not to follow this typical big boob, under boob, you know, type of form. So Nox is very much more reserved looking, kind of like a Chang'e and Artemis. And she has this kind of, and I hate to use this word, she kind of has this swagger about her, like she's too good to even be out here. Like, how dare she be summoned to the battlefield? So I really like that. And that candle that she's holding is a phenomenal touch. It just looks like it's not a traditional weapon. You know, we have gods in the game using their bare hands and bow and arrows and swords and spears. We got a god using a candle as like an offhand item, you know what I mean? I really like that. Great touch. My only complaint on her model is the mask itself. Now, they have the right idea. So if you kind of look at the bottom of her helmet, there is a little sheer piece, so you can kind of see through it. I wish they would have did that for the entire helmet piece. Just made it kind of like a sheer front cover, or had it shrouded in darkness in some way, because her helmet looks so much like Nemesis, and I don't really like that too much, but I'll take it. I'll take it for what it is. As far as I'm concerned, this model is very well done. It's High-Risk's track record at this point. Every time a new god comes out, you can rest assured that the models, the animations, the abilities are going to be top-notch. So this is no different. So good on the model itself. Now, let's start off with her passive. So her passive is pretty unique. Think of it as chalk. So abilities casted near Knox will fill her candles, granting her no cost for her ability. So just exactly how chalk works. As you auto attack, you build up this meter. Once the meter is full, you get a free cast. I'm pretty sure it's the same way. As you're in lane and Ra is spamming his abilities and Poseidon is spamming his abilities, it's going to fill up your candle. As your candle fills up, you're going to get a free cast ability. So very neat. It's going to come in handy, and it's going to be really good for her sustain. So let's go on to her next ability, which is a shield on her number 1. Basically, it is an ability very similar to the Nemesis shield. So you pop it reactively. You don't pop it just as you come into battle. You pop it anticipating attacks coming to you, because the shield only lasts for a very short duration. So you're going to use it when you anticipate a Spirit's Tempest or a Searing Pain or something like that. You know an ability is coming, you pop that, it's going to mitigate some of the damage for Knox, and depending on what level it is, they kind of hinted that this is an extremely powerful move and it can mitigate almost 90% of the damage. We don't have any hardcore numbers on it yet, so we'll keep a lookout on that ability there. Now, her number 2 is a pretty straightforward. It's a straight line nuke. However, this ability does pierce. So if there are two gods standing, you know, right in front of each other and behind each other, you shoot the straight line nuke at them. It'll go through both of them, damaging both of them, as well as silencing them, and also applying a passive debuff, which basically shrouds them in darkness, and that will make more sense once we get to the ability number 3. So ability number 3 is this ability that is a circle nuke. You pop this circle nuke, it does damage, it's on an extremely short cooldown. We're thinking 3 to 4 seconds on this ability, so you'll be able to spam it quite often. Hello, female Habwa. So you'll be able to spam her 3 quite often, and if you've already afflicted your enemy with darkness, this ability will do more damage. Pretty straightforward. It's, like I said, it's just a circle nuke. Nothing else, that's it. But it looks cool, so we'll take it. And then finally, her ultimate, which is, I can't wait to see this in action. It's very interesting. So she targets someone with another straight line nuke. Those targets become linked together. So as you can see in this video, she is linked to Odin. This means every single time Odin activates an ability, he's going to take more damage. And on top of that, as they activate abilities on their side, it reduces cooldowns for Knox. So if Odin gets linked and he goes crazy and tries to leap out and he pops his shield, well, he just used 2 abilities, so he's going to take 2 sources of damage. And like I said, I don't have the exact numbers on how much this is going to reduce her cooldowns, but I think it goes without saying, the more abilities you use, the faster your cooldowns are going to be up again. So very, very interesting. So now let's talk about Knox in a Conquest map. She's a mage, so we'll start off with mid. As far as her mid style, it's going to be very reminiscent to what I think Isis is. Now, Isis doesn't have a really good escape, for example. When Gus is probably going to be down because she was just clearing the lane. She has her ultimate, and she has a stun, and she has a silence. That's Isis in the mid. Now, she's not super safe, but the thing that Isis brings to mid is the fact that if you gank her, there's a possibility that she can turn around and kill you. That's the possibility with Isis, and I kind of see that with Knox as well. She doesn't have any type of movement, she has no type of escapes, so if she gets attacked and caught out in mid, she's going to turn and fight you, and depending on what type of character comes out to fight you, if it's a Mercury, you're probably GG because he'll just auto attack you to death. But if you take an example of maybe a different god, sort of like Freya, for example, who has to pop both of her abilities, her 1 and her 2, she might even use a banish in there. That's a lot of abilities to use. That's going to spark her cooldowns really, really fast, and depending on how fast her cooldowns come up, because just like I mentioned, her 3 is already on a 3 to 4 second cooldown. So imagine if you're linked. Imagine if Freya's popping her cooldowns. That thing is probably going to be coming up off of cooldown so fast, it's going to be hard for you to even cast it as fast depending on how the delay is. So you might be able to just turn around and kill who is going to be ganking you. So that's the thought process. I'm not too big on mids that don't have a real safe escape because there's just too many conflicts in the mid lane, too many conflicts in the mid camp. So, that might work in casuals. I'm not sure how it's going to work in a professional scene. Now, the story is a little bit different when you start talking about the solo lane. That is where I think she's really going to thrive. She's already super mana efficient with her passive. You add that with the blue buff that you're going to get over in the solo lane. Her clear looks like it's going to be pretty good and very, very safe. Also, when it comes to killing other people over there in the solo lane, that link is going to give her the ability to be like, okay, you're probably going to use an ability to try to escape. You're not going to be able to just walk away from me, right? You're going to have to use a couple abilities to escape from me. That is going to kill you even faster and allow me to kill you even faster. So I think we're really going to see her thrive in the solo lane. Of course, people are going to try to jungle her, but she's not a jungler. In my opinion, to be a good jungler, you need some type of lockdown ability. She has no hard CC. She basically just has a silence. She has no escape, no mobility. So as far as that's concerned, I'm pretty sure she's going to be regulated to the solo lane, but I like her over there. She's a very good counter to gods that are high spammy, like Poseidon, Ra, Habois, those type of gods that are going to be over there spamming a lot of abilities to clear the wave. She's going to do fantastic against. However, gods that are more physical based, so like we'll take for example Bakasura. Bakasura is going to devour minions. Sure, that's going to give her a stack on her passive, but Butcher Blade, she pops that. It's going to be worse for Knox than it is going to be for Bakasura. So I'm not sure how she's going to fare against assassins over there in the solo lane, which is my specialty. But we'll see. But I really don't see her going anywhere else besides solo. But to sum up my final thoughts on Knox, I have to address the elephant in the room. So Knox is attacking you. She's being aggressive. She ults you. What's stopping you, for example, if you're a Scylla, from just casting your 3, your Sentinel, just running away for a second, waiting till her ultimate's down, and then re-engage? Like, what is actually stopping you from leaving the fight when you're in the laning phase? Now, if you're in a team fight situation, a 3v3 over the Gold Fury, and you pop your ult on someone that has to use abilities, they become a sitting duck. I understand that part. But during the laning phase, I don't really see her. I don't see it. I see her getting picked on more than her being able to pick on other people. But like I said, I could be completely wrong. Depending on what the damage is on her 3, her poke, depending on how mana efficient she really is. Because she could be a mana hog, like an Uller, for example, and she needs that passive just to barely make it by. But if she's mana efficient, she can poke really, really well. She might be able to get kills that way. But I don't see her scoring a lot of kills in the solo lane on her own if the enemy has some type of escape, or if they have an ability that, you know, like a Vamana can just run away from you, Bakasura can just leap, like I said, the Scylla example, or maybe they just walk away from you. Maybe they just simply walk away from you, because I'm looking at this ability and not all the details are out, but there is no slow attached to it. So what is stopping me? You don't have any type of movement ability to get close to me fast, right? You can't just like spring up on me unless you buy Blink. So what's stopping me from just walking away from you? Maybe we got to take a look at the patch notes later on to see if there's actually a slow connected to it or something, but to me that's the elephant in the room, and that's gonna sum up my thoughts for Knox today. But like I said, this is SMITE Meta Casual News. My opinion is just one opinion out of a sea of them. I want to know what you guys think. I'm extremely interested, so please leave your feedback below. I want to know where you think this god ranks as far as the other mages, how you think she's going to fare. Is she going to be your next diamond? Let me know. Once again, my name is FG3000. You have been you. And that, my friends, was the news.